is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southeast.
For the final time in 2016, we get to Schlemiel Schlemazel Hassenpfeffer Incorporated from Milwaukee and Miller Park, where today the Braves hope to take 3 out of 4 from the homestanding Milwaukee Brewers. Hi again, friends. No, it's not Laverne and Shirley. It's Chip and Joe with you. It's been a good road trip so far for the Braves. A total team effort so far for this Atlanta club in St. Louis and here in Milwaukee. And in keeping with that theme and the hot offensive regulars for the Braves, we thought we should take a look at a guy who's been very productive in a new role and playing off the bench. Braves favorite Jeff Francoeur.
Well, one of the things about you've got to like about Jeff is how he resurrected his career. 2 years ago, he went back to AAA, spent most of the whole year at El Paso. Last year in Philadelphia, he proved what he could do coming off the bench. Led all of baseball in pinch hitting average, had 13 home runs. The Braves knew that he could provide a real leadership quality to this team with so many young players, and he's done just that. But it's beyond his influence on young players. It's been his performance, throwing out base runners. He has hit some key home runs to win ball games, and he's just doing everything you could possibly ask for a guy on his return to Atlanta. And yeah, we thought today it'd be a good idea, since he's in the lineup, to talk a little bit about what he's done this year. And he's done it in 91 games. Those 7 outfield assists at the bottom of the page there, he's played 100 fewer innings, 10 or 15 fewer games than everybody else that's above him on the assist list. He's played great defense, great contribution, great leadership.
Yeah, 17 fewer RBIs than Freddie Freeman and about 240 fewer at bats. So when he's played, he's been very productive, and he's in the lineup this afternoon for Matt Kemp, who gets the afternoon off. It is a perfect day for baseball. It's Hernandez and Garza. When we come back, our starting pitcher, Paul Berg, will break down today's series wrapping up matchup from Miller Park in Milwaukee next.
Baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Welcome back to Milwaukee, everybody. We got the Thursday afternoon special for you and a veteran pitching matchup. How about Roberto Hernandez? Back to the big leagues, 35 years old. Yeah, my former teammate won 19 games with the Indians, looking to regain that form that he had in 07, sprinkled in with some other good years. How about this sinker? Check it out. Down and away. You're going to see the ball run in right here, and this one's going to be nasty. Down in the dirt. Did a great job at St. Louis. You see the smiles. He's going to chew a lot of gum during the game to calm himself down and throw those strikes. Not a quality start, but certainly did a great job getting the win there. On the other side, Matt Garza. I feel like this guy should be 40 years old. He's not. He's 32, been in the league a long time. A lot of respect in that clubhouse as being one of the hardest workers on the staff. You see his last 3 starts is good. ERA over 5 on the season. The key for him is to reach out and finish that good slider that he has. We'll look and see if he has that. I got to tell you, some good baseball. Braves clicking on all cylinders, really playing great lately. We're going to be back soon with the series finale here in Milwaukee.
Is sponsored by Georgia Power, The Home Depot, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
With a win today in Milwaukee against the Brewers, the Braves could win their 4th series out of the last 5 that they have played. And they'll do so with the roof open here in Milwaukee and against Matt Garza, who has had a, shall we say, rocky tenure as a member of the Milwaukee Brewers. He takes the mound to face Atlanta in the final matchup between these two teams here in 2016.
Brewers lead the season series 4-2. Matt Garza would like to figure out a way to get in the win column against Atlanta. 6 career starts, 0-4 with almost a 5 ERA. Pretty good batting average against him, but no luck to speak of. Throws in the low 90s. Good slider, as Paul said. He's got to have that slider today to be effective.
Lineup for Atlanta and Brian Snitker. It's Ender Inciarte, Eric Ibar, Freddie Freeman, the top 3. Freeman hit a couple of homers here last night. Nick Markakis, the cleanup man. Adonis Garcia, 5th. Jace Peterson, Jeff Francoeur gets the start for Matt Kemp. Anthony Recker, who's riding a hot streak, bats 8th, and Roberto Hernandez will pitch and bat 9th. Buzzards luck for both starters today. We've talked a lot about how the sunny skies can affect the offenses with the roof open here in Milwaukee. Not much sun overhead right now.
Yeah, very cloudy, and radar shows a front kind of coming this way too. We don't have to worry about that because they close the roof rather quickly. But yeah, for the hitter's standpoint, this is a big bonus for them, not having to deal with shadows.
Lights are on, as you see, as Garza wraps up his warm-up tosses, and then we'll be ready for action here in Game 4. Braves tried to come back last night. They fell 4-3. 3 homers were hit in the game. Chris Carter of Milwaukee hit a mammoth 3-run shot off the scoreboard. Freddie Freeman had a scoreboard blast of his own, and then an opposite field homer right down the left field line. But Atlanta fell 1 run shy in Game 3 of the series. So let's see if Ender Inciarte can get things started here in the first inning, which has been a problem spot for Matt Garza.
It has indeed. In his first 10 starts, he's given up 9 runs in the first inning. Started the year on the DL. His last start in spring training, he suffered a strained lat muscle, and he was on the DL from April 5th to June 14th. That's why this is only his 11th start.
And his first pitch of the day misses high. Andrew Fletcher has the plate, and it's ball 1 for Inciarte. Ender's 3 for 12 in the series, and his 19-game hitting streak interrupted. But had a good night last night. That's upstairs 2-0.
Garza's last start, he got 15 runs of support, kind of like Hernandez in his 13 runs of support in St. Louis. Garza, 6 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs against the D-backs.
And there's his first strike of the day. 88 degrees and muggy. As Joe said, weather is approaching. We'll see if that impacts the action this afternoon. There's that good fastball from Garza, who's 32 years old. Broke in with Twins. First rounder in 2005. Got to the big leagues in 2006. Then went to Tampa Bay, the Cubs, Texas, and now Milwaukee. And a pop up at third. VR in foul ground makes the play, and Inciarte is retired to start the game. I think it's safe to say, Joe, that the time for Garza here in Milwaukee has been frankly disappointing after he signed a $50 million contract. He's got 17 wins, 26 losses, including his 3-4 start this season. He's got another year left on his deal with a mutual option for the 2018 season. And a shot hammered toward right field. That's going to get down for Ibar, and that'll rattle off the fence. And Ibar with a ringing double with 1 out is aboard here in the first inning.
It's like everybody in the ballpark jumped. Everybody's just kind of settling in. They're hot. They're kind of fanning themselves, and then pow off the bat of Ibar. Everybody just kind of jumped. And so did the baseball.
Watch this ball hit off the fence. Is that like a tarp out there? Maybe a new sponsorship sign that they haven't put up right in front of the bullpen?
Might be a message board. Had a kind of a ripple in it when it hit, didn't it? Yeah, it looks like a cover. This wall's got some nooks and crannies in it, to be sure.
A 2-homer game for Freddie last night. 21 homers now. 2 off of his career high of 23, which he's done twice. 13 doubles for Ibar, who has a big lead. Shift on for Freeman. And that stayed high. Ball 2.
Opportunity for Freddie here. Hit a ground ball to short. Get an RBI. There's nobody there.
Well, you have to be encouraged that both of his homers were hit the other way last night. That one's fouled away. So when he does that, he's just about ready to go on another patented Freddie Freeman hot streak. Might be in the middle of one now. 5 RBIs in his last 5 games, including 3 homers. Good work lately is our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot, but this run extends to the last 50 games. He's hitting over 300 in that stretch.
Yeah, the start of the season was just one of those periods for Freddie that you can't explain. He's been Freddie Freeman since about the 1st of May, but boy, April was rough. That was a pretty good fastball from Garza there that he had to fight off. It was 91, I think, but bearing in on him.
Well, we've said pretty much from the opening bell, if Freddie Freeman hits, this Braves team has an excellent chance to do some damage at the plate. Not just Freeman, but the club. And in those 50 games, Braves are 25-25. And he takes ball 4 as Garza missed. First and second, 1 out. Nick Markakis is coming up. Nick's another hot hitter for Atlanta, and a hot hitter over an extended period. 31 hits in his last 25 games. 4 of them in this series, and that's a .348 average over the last 25 for Nick.
And moves to the cleanup spot tonight or this afternoon with Matt Kemp taking the day off.
Sharply hit. Arcia makes the play, steps on the bag, and throws a strike to first. Markakis hit it right on the screws, but the talented Brewers shortstop made a great play to start an inning-ending double play. No luck for Atlanta. Garza bailed out by Orlando Arcia, the shortstop. second shot off the bat of Nick Markakis. Braves are done in the top of the first. Roberto Hernandez set to make his first pitch.
35 years old, 6'4", 270. Got the win in his first start back. First start since June of 15. Good outing against the Cardinals. Has made one start in his career against the Brewers a couple of years ago. Won that ball game. Sinker, slider, breaking ball. I have his 4 keys for you shortly.
Jonathan Villar, the Brewers' third baseman, is their leadoff man. And he has filled that role to perfection. He's been on base in 20 of his last 39 plate appearances.
That's over half the time by my count.
And it's going to continue to be over half the time as he strokes a single to lead off the bottom of the first inning.
Well, let's go to 4 keys and see how that already applies. 4 keys to pitching success for Roberto Hernandez today. Number 1, quick innings. No deep counts. Get after these guys, make them put it in play. Secondly, ground ball outs. No, not Green Bay. A lot of people here would think that GB's for Green Bay. Ground ball outs, and he had 6 of them out of his 15 outs in St. Louis. And I say that knowing that if you get the ball in the air here with this team that can hit some home runs, even with Braun out of the lineup, that can be some instant offense.
Yeah, Milwaukee's hit 120 home runs this year. Arcia has yet to go deep. This young man's hit safely, though, in his last 6 games. This series against the Braves, his home debut. Got to keep an eye on VR. 45 stolen bases. Be a great shootout in the next series for Milwaukee. The Reds are here, and Billy Hamilton. Those two are 1 and 2 in the stolen base department in National League play. Hamilton with 48, VR with 45, Starling Marte at 39. Nobody else has more than 25.
Braves have done a good job on VR in this series. That was only his 3rd hit, and they've only walked him once, so they've done a real good job of keeping him off base.
He's got a good lead, and he's going. And Arcia skied it out of play foul. There's a break. And it's 0-2. The Brewers and their fans have heard about this young man at the plate for a long time. He's been one of their highest rated prospects for the last couple of years. His major league debut delayed because he fractured an ankle in 2012, missed the entire season. He's stolen 20 bases or more 3 times in his minor league career. And we've already seen he's got some nifty glove work, quick reflexes. A couple of hot smashes against the Braves here in this series. Ground ball slowly towards second. Slow flip. And not in time. A long backhanded flip from Jace Peterson cost the Braves a step, and Arcia is safe at first.
Wasn't hit very hard. And that backhand toss took, as you said, a little while to get there. No argument from Freddie Freeman on the call.
And so, like the Braves, with their slugging left fielder out of the lineup, Brewers have a starting 9 adjustment. Scooter Gennett moves up from the cleanup spot to bat third. lot of power behind Jeanette with Chris Carter. Kirk Neuenhuis is in left for Braun. Dan Perez, Keon Broxton, Manny Pena, and Matt Garza. That sliced out of play left side and into the lower deck. Hey, nice catch.
That was a good job of tracking that one. Got a Fulte shirt on.
You know why? When Mom and Dad said you can have the uniform of your favorite player, but to get the name on the back, you have to be able to spell it right. That's the only way. Runner goes, fouled away again. And PR is going to have to head back to first base with a 1-2 count.
Garcia is looking for his first stolen base at this level. Stole 15 in AAA.
He's going again, and he'll head back to first again.
Sometimes that's doing more harm than good when the guy's kind of in between sliding and not sliding. Eric was trying to do him a favor, let him know it was fouled off.
Just missed inside. Anthony Renker tried to frame it, didn't get the call. It's now an even count. The 2-2 is popped up. Ibar out, Francoeur in, and Jeff's got it. Scooter Gennett is the second out of the inning, and here's Chris Carter. We've seen some long homers hit in the major leagues. This one's got to be in the top 10.
And it was such an easy swing too. It wasn't a big hip turn or anything, just kind of got the barrel out there. Off the Miller light sign. 442 feet, they said.
I think he got shortchanged. Fouled away for a strike. Of Carter's 26 homers have come here in Milwaukee. Just missed a 20th homer at home earlier in the series when he Flied out to deep left center against Mauricio Cabrera. Runner goes. Pitch a ball. The throw to second is on target. Bond late, and Arcia has his first stolen base.
Anthony Recker made that a lot closer than it should have been. Hernandez was very slow with his leg kick and delivery to the plate.
That's a big part of the Brewers game. They have 122 stolen bases as a club now. And here's the spot where Carter has had trouble. That's hitting and making contact with runners in scoring position. Let's see what he does with a 2-1 count and 2 outs. With 64 RBIs. Carter's hitting .115 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
I wouldn't give in to him here, even with that number. And they didn't. Threw him something, breaking ball, something he had a hard time with last night against the Braves relief corps.
Which has been terrific in this series, by the way. So a full count pitch for Carter. Fly ball, well hit. That's headed toward the Braves bullpen and gone. Flick of the wrist, and it's 2-0 Milwaukee.
Like I said, first base open. Don't give him anything to hit. Got him to swing at the breaking ball. Don't know what that pitch was, but he was fooled and just kind of leaned over and one-handed it.
You've said it so many times. When a hitter tries to swing hard, it slows you down. This guy can hit anybody's fastball, and just as you said, nice and smooth and easy.
He gets it out front. When he hits it a long way, he connects out front.
So Carter with 27 homers, 66 RBIs, 20 of them at home. He's put Milwaukee in front here in the first.
It was supposed to be a slider, but it didn't slud.
Neuenhuis has hit 10 homers. He struggles to make contact as well.
He's 4 for his last 26. He's not near the threat that Carter is.
And 106 strikeouts in 260 at bats. Pitch off the end of the bat, foul. Looking up and down this Brewers lineup, strikeouts are a big part of the problem for Milwaukee this year. The starting 8 players have combined to strike out 550 times in about 1,760 at bats. That's 31% of all their at bats they swing and miss. But Carter didn't. And a homer to left has the crew up 2.
Now that's a huge number, a huge percentage. You think about that. You think about the 92 errors, I think it is, most errors in the National League, and yet they've won 50 games. Makes you wonder how they've done it.
especially when you look at their hitting with runners in scoring position. 287 strikeouts and 885 at bats. That's even higher than the 31%. Full count. And Neuenhuis didn't get it. It's tipped and caught. And that's the inning. Chris Carter has hit another long homer, this time in the first inning. And the Brewers strike first with a 2-run opening inning for Matt Garza. The first 20,000 guests at Turner Field get the one-of-a-kind Andrew Jones The Catch bobblehead doll. You don't want to miss it. Go to Braves.com/tickets and get your seats today. Cloudy skies in Milwaukee, but she's ready in case old Saul pops through the clouds.
Is that hair or hat?
It's a lot of both.
Or cream puff.
Those were good, by the way, last night.
Yeah, they were.
All right, Garza with a 2-0 lead as we head to the second. Adonis Garcia leads off and takes high, ball 1. Garza got out of the first inning. A double play bailed him out of trouble. And that one's cued foul down the first base line, where Eddie Perez will inspect and then make a friend. Right back where it came from, and that ball was short hopped at second, and Scooter Gennett makes the play.
It's hard to overrun a ball that's hit that hard, but that had such English on it. It started cutting and slicing, and Gennett went to his right and had to freeze and then reach back and catch it in off his left foot. That was smoked.
2 hard hit balls by Markakis and Garcia, nothing to show for them. And now Jace Peterson's the batter. Jace hitting 6th today. Takes it inside from Garza.
He pinch hit last night and crushed a ball to deep center that was run down by Neuenhuis to end the game.
2-1.
Spotting his fastball pretty well here in the early going. Out of Selma, California.
Pounding ball foul at first. Chase Peterson here looking for his second hit on the road trip.
Not sure. I have to look it up. Seems to me that Selma, California is where Bobby Cox graduated from high school.
I'll check for you.
All conference, all state, all star quarterback.
Selma is the raisin capital of the world. At our age, I bring that up. That might be handy information down the road. Never know. Yep, Bobby Cox is from Selma. 2-2 is upstairs. Full count. A shot to first, and Carter makes the stab. That's 3 hard hit balls in a row, and no luck. All right, enough's enough.
Yeah, Garza's been bailed out, first of all, by the nifty double play turned by Arcia in the first inning. And now the right side of the infield gets in the act. Can't do anything but hit it hard, Jace. Small consolation, trust me.
Base is empty for Jeff Francoeur. Talking with Jeff after the game last night, I couldn't believe it. He said he'd never hit a home run here in Milwaukee, and he's right. This is his 20th career game here. And the other place he's mentioned also surprised me, Toronto.
Yeah, that is surprising, depending on how many games he's played there.
Two of the best hitters parks in the game. There's that one in at the knees. 2-1 the count.
Well, 2 out, nobody on. He's got an opportunity if he gets a good pitch here to go for it.
Jeff needs some new gloves. That's 3 times he's done that in this series.
I don't know that I've ever seen him do it before. Slider reaching, a lot of torque out on the into your hands when you're trying to reach for that slider down and away.
Two balls, 2 strikes, base is empty. 2-0 Milwaukee. Pena with a nice stop, full count.
See what Pena did though right before the pitch was thrown. He was trying to give Garza a target in the dirt right behind the plate, and he got it in the dirt, and then he got it in the leg.
Hey, Jeff with another walk. And he's aboard with 2 outs. Second walk issued by Garza. That brings up catcher Anthony Recker. Yeah, Matt Garza's been somewhat of a mystery here in Milwaukee. They saw him a lot when he pitched with the Cubs. Garza then went to Texas, went 8-8 in 2014, had a dismal 6-14 mark last year, was taken out of the rotation in early September and didn't pitch the rest of the year. In fact, Garza left the ball club. He went back home to California to be with his wife and their 4 children because she was expecting twins. So now Garza and his family with 6 kids now and trying to have a better year for the Brewers. They're only 3-4 with a 5.0 ERA. Pop fly foul out of play. Anthony Recker, who's been very impressive. These are Zaxby's indescribably good play.
13 games, high average, great on base percentage. He's had opportunities to drive in runs, and he's done that. At 389 average, 14 for 36, 5 doubles.
One ball, 1 strike. There were published reports yesterday in the Atlanta papers that said Julio Teheran and Tyler Flowers and Arodys Vizcaíno could all be back at the end of the next homestand. If that's the case, it'll be very interesting to see what they do with their catching situation. Would the Braves carry 3 of them, at least for the short term? Of course, rosters can expand in September, and you can do what you want. A strike. But I don't know if Anthony Recker could do any better than he's done.
I don't know how he could do any more than what they've asked him to do, and he's thrown out base stealers, done a real good job as a receiver, blocking balls in the dirt, helping guide some of the young pitchers through some rough spots.
A lot of pitches for Garza. Another full count. Recker is the 8th place hitter. Hernandez on deck. And Francoeur will get a head start at first. He'll take off with 2 outs. And that's low and inside. Back-to-back 2-out walks. Hernandez will try to help himself.
His hacks in St. Louis don't instill you with a lot of confidence in this situation. But he's a big man with a bat in his hand. We'll see how it works out.
Put it in play. Garcia at short. And the flip to first is in plenty of time. Garza's already had 4 full counts. He's walked 3, but he leads by 2.
Bottom of the second. You guys talked about the shadows. That sun wanted to peek out just a little bit last inning. Got to tell you as a pitcher, if the shadow comes over the pitcher's spot, the fastball is more effective because the hitter picks it up later. If that shadow starts to creep over midway and covers the batter, look for a nasty late-breaking slider or a sinker, which Mr. Hernandez throws to be more effective. Guys, the sun not wanting to come out right now, but as you mentioned, if it does, it's certainly a huge factor in a day game here in Milwaukee. Back to you guys.
All right, Paul, thank you. Now, it's my understanding you've pitched here before. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And did you give up a home run or two in this place?
You're on top of it, Chip. I tell you what, yes, I did. I was an entertainer. You know, if they spend a lot of money, a couple $100, you bring your family to the game, you don't want to see a Tom Glavine ground ball festival. So I wanted to work fast, not walk anybody, give up a couple home runs, get off the field with a quality start. That's what I did. Prince Fielder took me deep, and I believe Corey Koski.
Oh, yeah, I remember Corey Koski.
You remember him? Yeah.
Good player.
Anybody that's left-handed liked facing me. And then Roberto Hernandez, believe it or not, came in the game in the 7th inning, finishing it up.
My recollection, Paul, on that Prince Fielder home run was it second deck in right field or third?
Was it what?
Second deck or third deck in
it
right
was
field?
Second deck. That's it. Yeah, that's what we talked about. That's a Jimmy Jack, not a Jimmy John Jack, and not a red cedar like I used to give up to Vladimir Guerrero. That's just an in-between home run, Joe.
Oh,
and it came on a hanging changeup.
An in-between home run.
Yes.
Well, he didn't hit too many of his 319 homers in between. And I'd love to get both of your perspectives on Prince Fielder. What a shame that those recurring neck problems are going to force him from a game he loves so much. And he said it in his press conference yesterday. The doctors say I can't play anymore. It's not that he doesn't want to, but he's not going to be medically cleared to play because of a couple of real bad neck surgeries. As Hernan Perez pops it up to third. The first out.
I know that Prince hasn't performed in Texas like he did here, and maybe didn't endear himself to Texas fans that much, but I thought they did kind of a lackluster job on the Rangers in terms of his press conference, announcing what was wrong with him from a social media standpoint. You know how big I am on that. Not really doing a whole lot for Prince Fielder. On the other hand, these fans here love Prince Fielder. They thought he was terrific. And even the Brewers put out more on this injury retirement, whatever you want to call it, for Prince than the Rangers did. Surprised me.
Paul, was he as imposing to face as it seemed watching him swing the bat?
It was. When I think of Prince Fielder, I think of tremendous bat speed. When you have tremendous bat speed, you can wait on pitches longer to make a decision on when you're going to swing because you can catch up to him. So he was a guy that was tough to fool, and then he was strong enough that, you know, like Mr. Carter, even sometimes when you did fool him, he could do some damage.
Keon Broxton's thinking about two. Had to slam on the brakes as Francoeur got to it quickly. And if Broxton had taken another step, Jace Peterson might have turned and tried to gun him out at first. But Broxton's aboard with a one-out single, and he can run.
Like he got a breaking ball, was fooled out on a little bit, and still able to hit it hard. Nice play by Jeff to get it in quickly.
Here's Manny Pena. We talked about him the other night. Sum total of his major league experience was about 5 games, and that was 3 or 4 years ago. Getting a chance to play here in Milwaukee. He is 0 for 2 in the series, but did a good job erasing some Braves base runners behind the plate. Pena, a charter member of the all fruit salad team in professional baseball. He and Mark Apple are at the top of the list. Pena, of course, means pineapple in Spanish.
Meeting on the mound. I'm sure discussing that very subject. It'll be good to get out of Milwaukee for you, won't it?
I've pretty much had enough. I know you have to.
Yep.
1 on, 1 out.
I mean, 4 days here, you kind of hope you run into Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah. Hey, boy, saw Henry Winkler at our hotel.
That's what I hear.
He's in town.
Big lead for Broxton.
No balls and a strike. To say this game is moving briskly would be a gross understatement.
That's correct. And it's hot. It's really hot in the stands. It's muggy. They're not used to it here. Everybody has been complaining about temperatures in the upper 80s, even approaching 90, but the humidity is such, just wearing everybody down. And like you've said earlier in this series, nobody's talking. Nobody says anything until Milwaukee gets a hit.
Yeah,
they're saving their energy.
What would they do if they came to Atlanta in mid-August and watched a weekend series?
Same humidity, plus 10 degrees. Yeah.
Runner goes, good jump, swing and a miss. Recker's throw, and Broxton held on as he overslid the bag, but he swipes his 12th base, and he's in scoring position with 1 out.
Look at this throw, though, by Recker. Look at where Jace catches it. Really too far in front of the bag to take that throw. He needed to be on the base and let the throw travel as opposed to catch it out front and bring the glove back. But an excellent throw by Recker.
And a shot to center. Inciarte played it on a hop. It bounces off his chest. And the Brewers have runners at first and third for Garza. Was that by design by Ender to try to freeze the base runner?
No, I think he thought he might be able to catch it, and then he went into hockey goalie mode where he knew he wasn't going to catch it, so he had to pull up and try and block it. If it gets by him, you know, Pineapple guy can run forever. Pena, of course.
So here's Garza. Had a chat with Ed Cedar. Let's see if Brewers put a play on here. Garza, a longtime American League player, is not a good hitter. And the bunt was on, but he fouled it away. Strike 1.
Adonis was not charging. He was staying near the bag. So it was going to be up to Hernandez to cover the third base side. If he dropped it down the third baseline, it looked like he was trying to push it to first.
Garza's 1 for 17 with 10 strikeouts this year. He does have 3 sacrifices. Runner at first goes, and he bunts it foul.
Somebody messed up that side. It's not often you bunt and run.
Now Garza has to protect the plate. He's behind 0-2. Drew the bat back. They've got a run down, and the Brewers are going to steal a run. Broxton came streaking home, and Recker threw through to second base. They get Pena, but Broxton steals home, and it's 3-0. I mean, that was as easy as it gets.
But Eric Ibar was complaining about something, and I don't know if it was interference on Garza's part, but he looked at first base, and Ripperger said safe. But right there, Eric immediately is pointing at home.
Was Eric thinking that Garza offered to that pitch and was struck out?
Must have, and that's why the appeal went to first.
Garza puts it in play and fell down, and that will take care of Milwaukee. However, Broxton steals home, and Milwaukee advances their lead. It's now 3-0. Live streaming sports service delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. That includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.tv for details. Well, Eric Ibar tried to steal a strikeout, which would have saved a third run. No such luck, though. As on the throw through to second base that nabbed Pena, Broxton galloped home for the third Brewers run. And now the top of the Atlanta order goes to work, trailing 3-0 in the final game of this series at Miller Park.
Well, I can understand how he thought perhaps Garza bunted at it because of the way he tracked the ball to the outside corner. But he couldn't concentrate on that. He had to cover and think about the runner.
So second time through, it starts with Inciarte, who popped out to open up the game for the Braves. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Brewers. No runs, 1 hit for the Braves. Atlanta's left 3 on base. 2 of them in scoring position.
Fletcher got a bit of a wake-up call there. Off the wing of the mask that protects the ears.
That's in for a strike from the former ALCS MVP Matt Garza. He earned that distinction in 2008. 2 wins against the Red Sox that year, including Game 7. At 24 years, 309 days old, he was the youngest pitcher at the time to ever win the ALCS MVP award.
No kidding.
By almost 2 years. Mike Boddicker was 26 years and 40 days old in '83. Line drive, base hit by Ender Inciarte the other way.
Well, the Braves have hit too many balls hard to think that they're not going to be able to put something together against Garza. Hopefully they can keep the proverbial line moving and put some hits back to back. Breaking ball, nice piece of hitting by Ender.
His 4th hit of the series. That brings up Ibar, who ripped a double to right field in the opening inning as well. But Mike Boddicker won that ALCS MVP award in '83. Garza hadn't been born yet. He was born in November of '83. That's fouled away left side. Eric's 14-game streak was snapped yesterday with an 0 for 4 game. He hit .385 in that stretch, but he's started another one today with that double. Ground ball. Carter stops that. He'll throw to second for 1. Throw to first will be late. A couple of good plays by the big man at first.
I'll say. Took a double away from Jace Peterson. Saved a base hit there and tried to turn it into a double play. Nice glove work. See why they like Orlando Arcia, and he's just a kid, but boy, has he got some quick feet and agility around the bag at second.
Freeman walked in the first. A double play took the Braves out of that inning. In the history of the Brewers franchise, they've had their share of terrific shortstops, haven't they?
Yeah. One that started in the big leagues when he was only 18 years old. There's his number on the wall here and a plaque in Cooperstown.
0-1. Ground ball towards second. There's 1. There's 2. Another double play. This one off the bat of Freddie Freeman. And Matt Garza's living a charmed life. He leads 3-0 after 2.5. Top of the order in the bottom of the third for Milwaukee. They've jumped on Roberto Hernandez for 3 runs. Carter's 2-run homer in the first. They stole a run with Broxton streaking home on a throw to second in the second. And here's VR, who singled his first time up. He was erased on a force play. And strike one. Carter's first inning homer extended the Brewers' streak of homers in 14 consecutive games now. They've hit 19 long balls in that stretch. VR's hit 9 this year. And they will take aim at the Reds pitching staff beginning tomorrow. That's popped out of play. It's 2-2. Panels are open. Flags are flapping briskly. In the air towards center. Ender can't get there. Off the end of the bat. VR is 2 for 2. The Brewers leadoff man is on for the second time versus Roberto Hernandez, who's on our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard.
Well, he's part of this group. 14 pitchers, starting pitchers used by the Braves this year, tied with the Reds for the most. Cincinnati Reds are already in town and have a day off here today. They will start a series tomorrow. No surprise that all 3 of those teams, Braves, Reds, Padres, struggling this year. When you've got to go through that many starters, that's not a good sign.
No.
Although we showed you that graphic last night, if you were with us since the All-Star break, the Reds have played much better baseball, much like the Braves.
And unlike the Braves and Padres, the Reds' issue has been their pitchers were all beat up, all hurt. Padres and Braves have had their shares of injuries as well. As the runner goes, and Rector's throw is on the money and not in time. Eric Ibar thought he got the tag down. VR safely in at second for the moment with his 46th steal. The Braves are going to check this one on review.
Talked about this from the beginning of this series about VR and how it was going to be a challenge to keep him under control.
Tag applied. Watched as his hand come off.
If it did, his foot was on there. But you got to make the guy stop. See, this is a walking lead. You can't let the guy get a walking lead, especially from first. I mean, that's like a lead from second base. Anthony Recker is doing all he can, all he possibly can, and that is to put the ball right on the base. Yeah, it came off.
That's a great angle. And you can see Ibar talking to VR. As if to say, you came off the bag, you're going to be out. Let's see if there's enough evidence to overturn this call at second base. He clearly beat the throw, but then his momentum carried him off the bag, and Ibar alertly kept the tag on the elbow. Question is the toe off the bag? Clearly from that angle, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yep, he came off the bag. VR's gun down. Good play by Ibar to keep the tag on the Brewers would-be base stealer. One last note on that number of pitchers used. Let's not forget, both Padres and Braves made some trades with their starting staff. Lucas Harrell, Julius Chassin, Bud Norris all traded away from the Braves rotation, which obviously required replacement.
Good point.
So the bases are empty for Arcia. He's got a 1-0 count. He scored the first Milwaukee run, and that's popped back toward us. See if anybody can catch it. Yeah, great catch. Right below us. Fan from Manchego, Wisconsin, made the play. It's whistled down by the tarp. Hey, nice play. No glove by the security man. Check him out.
Oh, man. He came flying off that chair.
Two balls, two strikes. Hernandez beginning his second time through the order. All the Brewers fans are clapping at this point. The home team leads by 3. Scooter Gennett waits next. Jammed him, and Ibar is going to get his man with a good throw. 2 outs. Scooter Gennett, whose full name is Ryan Joseph Gennett, is the hitter. Milwaukee took him in the 16th round in 2009. He got to the show in 2013.
I wonder if his friends kind of shorten even the nickname, kind of like on when Mark Lemke's friends see him, call him Scoots.
Right?
Scoots Gennett. I don't know if it has the same ring.
Fly ball, well hit right. Markakis will turn. That one's gone. He'll scoot around the bases with a solo homer. He's in double figures, and it's 4-0.
Didn't sound real good, but it certainly had plenty of distance. That landed deep in the Braves bullpen. He had been 1 for 9 in the series.
Two homers for the Brewers. 4-zip your score. Here's Carter, who pops this one up center of the diamond. Who wants it? It'll be Freeman and Garcia. They collide at the base of the hill. Carter is retired, and so is Milwaukee. The Brewers have scored in each of the first 3 innings. They now lead by 4.
sponsored by your local. Your local Ford dealer. And Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Hasn't been a happy day for the Braves the last 2 afternoons and evenings here in Milwaukee.
That's a great statue.
It is
looks just like John's.
Right?
Yeah.
And he would say hitting home runs is cool. The Brewers have hit 2 of them.
You know what his first name was in the show?
Oh, yeah. Arthur, wasn't it?
Yep.
Arthur Fonzarelli.
There you go.
Potsy Weber, I think it was, right?
Correct.
Can't remember what Ralph Malph was. His last name was.
I'm going to go with Mouth.
As good a guess as I've got. Here's Nick Markakis to lead off. Braves have 2 hits. They've had a handful of hard hit balls against Matt Garza, but haven't found many holes yet. And that's in for a strike. When he's right, Garza is an extreme ground ball pitcher. He's got 2 double play balls. And he leads 4-zip.
Yeah, no fly ball outs to the outfield. A pop up to third and a line drive to first. The only air outs.
Line and past Jeanette into right center field. Markakis, big turn, is going to stop.
Nice play by Perez. Another hard hit ball and a fastball by Nick. Good start to the inning. Braves only down 4 in a good hitter's park and no shadows.
Inside, 1 ball, no strikes for the Braves third baseman. Bouncing ball towards Scooter. He'll fire to second for 1. Arcia just an eyelash late. That was close. But again, that ground ball serving Garza well. 1 on, 1 out.
That was an interesting turn by Arcia there, and he didn't come to the outfield side of the bag. He went inside. I don't think he would have gotten him under any circumstances on the double play, but interesting how he took that throw.
Jace Peterson with a line drive his first time up. Was caught by Carter at first. Now though, Chris has to hold the base runner, so maybe that'll open up some breathing room for Jace. Day-night doubleheader in Minnesota today, and Houston is clobbering the Twins in the first one. 12-3. Astros have the lead over a Minnesota club that's been playing good ball of late. We'll see them after the end of this road trip.
Yeah, looking at the schedule today, the schedule maker did not do the Braves any favors. They had those 3 games right after the All-Star break at home. And at the end of this road trip, when they conclude play with Washington, they will have been on the road 20 out of 28 days. Day off Monday, go home for 6 games, and then go back out. 13 of their next 17 are on the road.
Next trips to the West Coast, right? Arizona and San Francisco.
Correct.
If there's any comfort in the amount of travel the Braves will be doing, at least all the trips after this one will be 2 city trips, no more than 3 city journeys. Three with Washington coming up tomorrow night. The Twins and Nationals on that week-long homestand. And the Padres wrap up the month of August with their lone visit. 2-2 pitch.
Yeah, see, and they're doing that again with Washington.
Yeah, that's
started the season. They played them for 6 of their first 9 games, and now they're going to play them 7 out of 9 games. Glitch in that computer.
Ground ball to second. Another chance for Arcia. But Peterson outran it. And Adonis is forced at second base. That's the second out. Braves might want to take a look at this to make sure the young shortstop kept the second base bag. I'm not sure he did.
Yeah, that time he came across to the outfield side. Cost Ibar a couple of nights ago. When he's pulling his right foot out of the way, he may have been off the bag when the ball got to the glove.
Andy Fletcher wants an answer. Apparently not enough there for the Braves to challenge. So another force play puts Peterson at first. This time with 2 out. Yeah, if I had one suggestion for baseball, to keep the game fresh for your viewing audience, don't play the same team back-to-back weekends. The Braves have done that an awful lot this year. I know you have a lot of divisional games against your opponents, but is it so hard to play your opponent 18, 19 times? 1 series a month. Seems to me that would keep it fresh for everybody, as that one is caught in right. First fly out off the bat of Jeff Francoeur. Garza leads by 4 through 4 innings of work. Coverage of baseball. We've mentioned it a couple of times. Off we go to Washington, a team that we haven't seen since first 2 weeks of the season. Braves saw them opening day, and then 8 days, make it 7 days later, and it's been all Washington so far this year, and frankly beyond.
Yeah, dating back to last year, the Braves 0-13 at Nationals Park, their last 13 games there. Big years for Steven Strasburg and Daniel Murphy, but they also have Anthony Rendon back hitting like he could and like he can, and also Espinosa at shorts really had a big year after they let Ian Desmond go.
Trey Turner's on that club. He's been playing the outfield, one of the fastest guys in the National League, and Washington's doing this without much from Bryce Harper, who's been bothered by a neck problem. Harper hasn't played the last couple of days for Dusty Baker. So the Braves owe those guys some payback. We'll see if they can do it tomorrow night. Mike Fultonevich and Steven Strasburg is can't miss TV. A bouncing ball to first. Hernandez to the bag, and Neuenhuis is out number 1. Here's Perez. He's popped out. If I saw the scoreboard correctly, the Mets have already played today, and they got blown out by Arizona 9-0. The Diamondbacks swept the Mets.
That's not good.
No.
And the sun's come out. Happy days for the hitters. The Brewers already have 4 on the board.
Fly ball well hit down the left field line. If it stays fair, it's got a chance. It's gone. Hernan Perez hits another Milwaukee homer. Number 9 for Perez. It's 5-0 Brewers. They've scored in every inning.
Nice easy swing again too. If nothing else, you're learning that in this ballpark you don't have to swing hard to hit the ball out of the park.
And that was not wind aided. He just went into launch mode. So the Brewers have hit 3 more homers. Keon Broxton has singled and scored. A much different hitter since he's come back from the minor leagues. That is a foul ball.
When you look at the numbers for VR and Hernan Perez, and keep in mind Perez is an infielder by trade. With the kind of pop they have, they each now have 9 homers. One has 41 RBIs, the other 37. One's got 45 swipes, the other's got 20. That's 2 pretty good players that could be playing on their infield.
Nothing in 2 for Broxton. I know you talked with Brian Anderson, the terrific national voice of baseball on TBS, and the Brewers broadcaster, about what the Milwaukee team has done in their farm system and how they're trying to load up. A lot of athletes, it sounds like.
Very much so. Very strong concentration on up the middle. Catching, middle infielders, and center fielders has been the focus of their drafting and in some of their trades.
And I would assume that that philosophy would be those are guys they can move.
Yes.
Literally on the diamond, because if you're a good athlete, you can figure out if the guy can hit, he can play another position. But boy, the currency of catching and the shortage of it in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. You know, we hear often in Atlanta about the currency of pitching. Same could be said for the catching department too.
2 balls, 2 strikes. To third, foul. Pittsburgh won today. They beat San Diego 4-0. They turned that game around. Padres won by a 4-0 score last night. It's Jamison Taillon and Christian Friedrich for the Padres. Noah Syndergaard was the scheduled starter for the Mets today.
And that shutout?
9-zip. Yeah. Ooh. Well, Roberto wanted that one, didn't get it. Might have just grazed the bottom of the zone. But count full. Popped him up. In comes Ender. And he's got it. There's the second out.
Syndergaard went 5 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs.
Wow, so the Mets bullpen gave it up
6
late.
strikeouts, yeah. Jonathan Neese, who they got back from the Pirates, gave up 6 runs in 1 inning.
Yeah, Mets ravaged by injuries, aren't scoring many runs, got none today. 19 times in the last 29 games the Mets have scored 3 or less. That sounds familiar. Kind of the way they played last year until they made those big trade deadline deals. Hasn't worked out for them so far this year. Fly ball foul by Pena. And it's 0-2.
Well, they've fallen 10 games back entering play today. 10 back of Washington. Miami's hanging in there, but they're still 7.5 out. And certainly a contender in the wild card. The Marlins.
0-2. And in the dirt. You know we ought to have Paul do before this game ends? Out in right field down the line they have a rock climbing wall.
He's so beat up from sliding down the slide. I don't know if he could get up there.
So he's a tough guy. I mean, he survived Bernie Brewer's sliding left. I mean, he could go climb.
That's what I'm saying.
Rock.
He really didn't survive that.
Oh.
He took a beating on that.
There's a strike 3 call over the inside corner. And that ends the Milwaukee 4th. They've scored a single run or more in each inning. And they lead at 5-zip after 4.
right stuff, low price every day.
With Paul Bird, Chip and Joe back with you in Milwaukee. The Braves have some work to do. They're down 5 runs after 4 innings. Matt Garza will face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for Atlanta. And it looks like Chase Darno's grabbed a bat. It'll be the end of the line for Roberto. 4 innings, 5 runs, 7 hits. He did not walk anyone. Gave up 3 homers. Riker gets it started. He walked back in the 2nd inning.
It's his 3rd walk of this series. He played in game 2, went 1 for 1 with 2 walks. I liked what he said to Paul. We had a good interview with him after the game the other night, and he was saying that he thinks the results are just coming from some regular at bats and having a good idea of when he's going to play instead of waiting a week or 10 days in between starts.
Anthony will turn 34 at the end of the month. Born on August 29th. And the 1-2 pitch. Missed the edge. It's even. Big series in Chicago later on tonight. The Cardinals will face the Cubs. Carlos Martinez and John Lester. Cubs are rolling. They've won 9 straight and 19 of their last 25. Strike 3. Record took it. 1 down.
He said earlier today that Garza was doing a good job of spotting his fastball. There's another case in point for the strikeout, but it's his fastball that has set up his slider to get all the ground balls. Only 1 fly ball out to the outfield today, and that was last inning.
First strikeout. And here's Darno.
It's kind of a moot point now because of the 5-run deficit, but
with the fly ball toward right. Perez near the line.
But Garza has a reputation of not wanting to field his position. He has a hard time on bunts, covering, that sort of stuff. Does not like to throw to bases when he's holding runners. And you can play on that if it's a close game, but it's kind of hard to think about that when you're down 5. You need a big inning.
Inciarte with 2 outs. Sender is 1 for 2. Wild game going down in Texas. As this one's hit towards second. It's 6-5 Colorado in the 4th. Here it's 5-0 Milwaukee after 4.5. Matt Garza wearing out the infield grass. His Brewers have scored in every inning. Great guy, great baseball man. And there have already been some rumblings that, you know, this might be Terry Collins' final stand. There was a rift between Terry and Sandy Alderson last week when there was a play at the plate that Terry didn't review. And the Mets said, well, why didn't you review? And Terry just didn't think of it. Didn't cross my mind to review it. He thought the play was decided. And unfortunately, as we know in this business, sometimes those rumors begin to take on a life of their own, especially in New York and especially for a Mets team that was busy at the deadline and was expected to be better off than they've been. They have been racked by injury. No Duda, no David Wright. Cespedes has been out. Regressions by Wilmer Flores. Darno missed time. The Nationals healthy and playing well. Wrong division to go through the kind of injury woes the Mets have had to deal with.
Well, you know, I know Terry pretty well, and I can pretty much assure you that if he went off on his team in a post-game press conference, that the team had already taken that lick in the clubhouse after the game. He had already let them know. Not a good sign, though, when the manager reacts that way after the game publicly.
Foul back. Well, it's safe to say that the back pages of the tabloids are getting a whole lot of ink with both managers in New York. Joe Girardi has had to deal with the retirement of Mark Teixeira effective at the end of the year, and the ongoing Alex Rodriguez saga after Alex announced that he was going to be, after the Yankees and Alex jointly announced that he would play his last game as a Yankee on Friday. As Garza swings and misses. Joe Girardi said probably Alex will play the final 4 games that he's scheduled to play. That hasn't happened. He didn't start him. And when asked about it, Joe kind of bristled because he believes his Yankees are still in a chance to maybe make the playoffs with a miraculous run. And he had an amazing quote. He said, "My job description doesn't include farewell tours. My job description is to put the best players on the field that I think can help us win."
Good for him.
Base hit by VR the other way. He's 3 for 3. So A-Rod's final game will be Friday, and he may be in the lineup. Someplace else after his contract, his playing contract is waived off of the Yankees payroll, I should say. He will have a personal services contract to be an advisor, special assistant, what have you. But there are some who speculate that Alex Rodriguez might try to continue playing once the Yankees release him unconditionally from his contract after the game against Tampa Bay. And there were some published reports that said today, Joe, that the Miami Marlins have internally discussed the possibility of bringing A-Rod home to Miami to maybe work with Barry Bonds and maybe fill in for Justin Bour, who hasn't played in about a month with that bad ankle.
That would be interesting to see him in a Marlins uniform.
Recker with a beautiful throw nails VR. That is the second time VR has been erased. First time he overslid the bag. That time Recker's throw was beautiful.
No review needed for this. Tough pitch to throw on 2, but Anthony Recker's putting it right on the bag. That one threw Jace right in the path of VR. No chance.
Brandon Kniff's throwing hard. That one at 94 miles an hour. And quickly 2 out in the inning. There are obvious questions about whether or not Alex Rodriguez can still play. Look at his batting average and the diminishing skills that he's dealt with this year with the Yankees. But in our league, there's no DH. He's not going to play third base. I guess the only place he could play would be first.
Yeah, that's kind of odd to me that he would think about that, knowing he needs some at bats. I mean, if he's trying to play just to get his 700th home run, you'd think he'd want to stay in the American League.
And you'd think he'd want a smaller ballpark than Miami.
Yeah.
You know. So we'll follow that. And it'll be fascinating to see the reception he gets when the Yankees play on Friday. We will be in Washington for Fultonevich and Strasburg. Rob Whalen pitches Saturday, Tyrell Jenkins Sunday. Off day Monday, then home for the Twins. And that's downstairs. Arcia walks. And here's Scooter Gennett, who homered his last time out. Throwing error by Kniff chases Arcia to second base. And yes, the Brewers still want to run. A 5-run lead in this airport on a sunny day is not a very big lead.
Not an artistic game today by the Braves defense. That error, steal of home on the double steal, which Ibar thought there'd been a strikeout at the plate and a tag out to end the inning. Freeman and Garcia colliding on a pop-up, but Freddie able to hang on to the ball.
And frankly, this is a game that doesn't have much pace to it. A lot of deep counts. And we're approaching the 2-hour mark, and we're not through the 5th yet. Oh, 0-2. Where's Paul Bird? Look at him go.
What?
He's Superman.
Hit that buzzer, Paul. Probably already did.
Holy smokes.
Way to go, Birdie. And he's got the mic.
Oh,
what?
my.
Yeah.
Well, Chip, I want to give you an injury update on Daylock. His knee is doing well. It's just a contusion. They're not sure if he's going to make his next start, but there is an off day, so he should be okay. Hold on, got to catch my breath. Julio, wait, out. Julio.
That's great.
Oh, I had it, guys.
Oh, that is so awesome.
You made it.
Julio Teheran throws a bullpen today. Makes a spot starting Gwinnett one time and can join the team late next homestand. Everybody getting healthy. Same thing with Flyers, feeling good. I am not injured on this, by the way. Do not have to go on the DL.
Good.
Back to you guys.
Get yourself a bratwurst and a beer, Paul. You earned it. Holy smokes.
That was great.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Thank Evans for well-placed carabiners.
Paul Bird, the hardest working man in show business. Little pop behind third. That is a tough play. Adonis can't make it. It's a fair ball. Arcia scores. Throw to second is in time. The run does score. Arcia scored before Jeanette was gunned out at second base. And Milwaukee has scored another run, this time here in the fifth. It's 6-0. Braves are falling to the Brewers. And a blue pit by Scooter Jeanette scores Arcia to make it 6-0.
Right off the glove of Garcia, Francoeur hustled over there to get the ball in and get the tag out. He picks up another assist, but the Brewers get another run.
So here in the sixth, Ibar, Freeman, and Markakis are coming up. The Braves have been handcuffed on 3 hits by Matt Garza. And a strike. Ibar has one of those 3 hits, a first inning double. There's a fly ball hit deep to right field. That ball's got a chance. That ball is into the second deck. Eric Ibar with a nice easy swing spoils the shutout bid. He hits a leadoff homer here in the sixth. It's now a 6-1 game.
He had seen Garza quite a bit. 23 career at bats coming in. Roped that double to right center his first time up, and now got a big breaking ball that stayed out over the middle of the plate, and it jumped into the second deck. No cheapie.
So I think Spider-Man Paul Bird has inspired the Braves bats. Good start to the inning, and now a shot down the left field line. This one's got a chance to creep out. Nope, it's off the wall. Freeman's going to try. He's on his way to second. He'll stand with a double. Back-to-back extra base hits, and Freeman almost poked one over the Jimmy John sign like he did last night.
Pitch up and out away from him. Not a whole lot unlike what he did last night on the one he hit out in that very same spot. Like you said, Chip.
Nick Markakis 1 for 2. 4th inning single is his offensive highlight. A run on 5 hits for the Braves today. Nobody out. That's in the Brewers dugout. Foul, 0-2. That's out of play. And we'll do it again. 0-2. There's a wire report today that Jim Johnson went through the waiver process after the deadline and was claimed by another major league club. Apparently the Braves and that unnamed team could not work out a deal. So Jim Johnson was pulled back from waivers, which means he will finish the season in a Braves uniform.
I was surprised that it didn't happen before the deadline. Right. He has continued a hot spree that started before the deadline.
Bouncing ball. Carter can't get that one. Here comes Freeman around third. Perez will bring the ball to the plate. Not in time. The Braves have scored twice. 3 consecutive hits. It's now 6-2.
And another hit with a runner in scoring position for Nick Markakis. He's up to 62 RBIs. And that time able to get the ball by Carter.
So 3 straight Atlanta hits in the inning. 2 runs are in. Adonis Garcia is the batter. And the wind is swirling. See if Adonis can hit one into the slipstream and make it a 2-run game. Be nice to see Garza have to sweat a little bit. Milwaukee scored 2 in the first, single runs in the second, third, fourth, and fifth. Adonis is 0 for 2. Nice stop. Popped up. Will it stay in play? VR near the railing, and he's going to have a play. There's the first out, and it brings up Jace Peterson. Jace has lined out, and he's grounded out.
Case for Garza of his location being a little off this inning and paying the price for it. Bragged on him earlier in the game about hitting spots and getting all those ground ball outs, and it shows you what happens if you elevate a little bit, catch too much of the plate, don't get that breaking ball down. You'd like to get another ground ball here and limit the damage.
In the air toward left. And that'll take care of Jace Peterson. Second out. And here's Jeff Rancourt. Jeff has walked and he has flied out.
Good job by Andy Fletcher today behind the plate. I haven't seen one complaint from anybody. It's a good crew. Kerwin Danley, the crew chief.
One ball, one strike. In the air to center. That'll get down for a hit. So the Braves have 4 hits here in the 6th. And Anthony Recker is going to come up. Anthony's done terrific work with runners in scoring position. Let's see if he can chip away and add another Atlanta run. Recker could make it a 1-run game.
Made a good pitch on Anthony to strike him out last time up, but his location does not appear to be that sound right now. Maybe Anthony will get something good to hit and drive.
Two 2-0. Matt Kemp is on deck. Again, Kemp and Braun did not start for their respective clubs. That means Greg Counsell and Brian Snitker can use those sluggers whenever they want. And if Recker could reach, you might see Kemp up with a chance to tie the game. 2-1.
That was a well-located fastball at 92, bottom part of the strike zone. Nothing fancy so far to record, just fastballs. That might be subject to change right here.
Deuce is wild. Strike 3. And that's the inning. The Braves got 2 runs on 4 hits. The 6th started with Eric Ibar's 2nd home run of the year. A leadoff shot. And the Brewers have their 4, 5, and 6 hitters coming up now with a 4-run lead.
And Toyota key play of the day came in the first inning. Take a look at this. Good pitch, swing and a miss. Roberto thought that was strike 3. It wasn't. Next pitch. Slider, middle of the plate. Not an awful pitch. It was down, but it was where Carter could extend his arms, and he hit it in the bullpen. 2-0 Brewers, and that got them started.
And he's the man that'll lead off the home 6th. Carter, Neuenhuis, and Perez. Milwaukee's hit 3 homers. Their 3, 4, and 6 hitters have gone deep. Brandon Kniff back out there for another inning's worth of work.
He struck out his first batter last inning, got some help from Wrecker throwing out VR. And since then, it's been a chore. He gave up a walk, committed an error, gave up a loop hit, scored a run, and now he's walked Carter.
And then bring up Neuenhuis. He's struck out and he's bounced out with the pitch recovering. Braves have had Neuenhuis's number this year. He's 2 for 21 against the Braves this season at the plate. And that's in for a strike. Little pop and caught it short. There's the first out. 1-on-1 out here down Perez. They're not a non-roster player. Brewers got him off waivers last June.
If you weren't with us a couple of nights ago, and I was talking to Eddie Perez about his team in Venezuela. Perez was on his team and said he was his MVP, and they went to the Caribbean World Series.
His home run in the 4th inning gives him 9 for the season. That's more home runs than he's hit at any level, including the minor leagues, as a professional player.
In any one year?
Any one year.
I'll be darned.
His high was 8 in 2011 in A-ball. This guy was a pretty highly rated prospect. Baseball America had him tabbed as the 8th best prospect in the Detroit system. Now it's a system that some say is a little thin because of all the trades they've made going for it under Dave Dombrowski's tenure. But still, you're in the top 10 for any big league club.
Sure.
A lot of talent. And he shoots one to the right field side of the diamond. First and second as Carter stops. And Perez a 2-hit day. And Keon Broxton's the hitter.
He was trying to do that. When you saw that swing from center field, he didn't strike. Watch his front foot. Just puts it down, and everything's going to be kind of geared toward right field. His hips kind of stayed closed, hands were inside out. That was well done. Professional at bat right there.
So Keon Broxton, who was originally selected by the Diamondbacks, then later traded to the Pirates, now a Brewer. Arizona took him in the 3rd round. Pirates got him in 2014. Milwaukee got him for Jason Rogers last December. Swing and a miss. I remember Broxton started his big league hitting career 0 for 24 with Milwaukee. But as you pointed out, a mechanical adjustments turned things around very quickly for him.
Yeah, he's really come back with a vengeance after he said basically he kind of figured this out on his own about lowering his hands where he starts. He had them up higher and then was dropping them and trying to get them back up. And there's just too much going on to get the bat to the ball. Now Coles is the hitting coach for Milwaukee.
Herd of players obviously playing winter ball. Broxton's no different. But he didn't play down in Venezuela or in the Caribbean. He played for the Sydney Blue Sox in the Australian Baseball League in 2012.
Good for him.
Out of Lakeland, Florida. He played wide receiver for the Lakeland High School football team. And all the talent the Pirates have in their major league outfield, you figured playing time was going to be tough for him. So getting traded to Milwaukee, a professional blessing for Keon Broxton, who's but 26 years of age. And Kniff walks in below the bases. And Brian Snitker is going to have to go get Brandon Kniff. Didn't want to. His spot's due first in the 7th. But the Braves skipper will make a double switch as Milwaukee threatens to get those 2 runs right back. They lead 6-2. They've got the bases loaded. And there is only 1 man out. It's a chance for all of us in Braves country to catch up with Blaine Boyer. Very popular member of the 2005 Baby Braves, Paul, and still a great guy, still an intriguing and engaging personality, we understand.
An incredible human being, and Blaine Boyer has had to fight, kick, and scratch for everything that has come his way on the field. certainly earning him a lot of respect. Also, going to rescue sex slaves in Asia with Adam LaRoche in the offseason. Incredible, incredible stuff. Here's the interview.
What we have is just 20 to 30 million modern-day slaves still right now. And when you come across, when you see this, when you actually see it firsthand, you just know that your brothers and sisters back home, if they could see it as well too, they'd be banging down as many doors as they possibly can just to find one. So from our perspective, we were heartbroken. It wrecked us, it ruined us, but it was something that was able to set a fire and let us kind of start this new work, even outside of baseball, something that we do. So there's unbelievable organizations out there that anybody, if you wanted, I mean, IJM.org, that's a great place to start. Those people do unbelievable things. So I would challenge anybody, everybody who's hearing this, listening to this, let's go fight for those who can't fight for themselves.
Incredible stuff. And, you know, guys, I'm embarrassed to say that I had to talk him into that interview because he didn't want any self-promotion. He was getting a lot of attention, as was LaRoche in spring training, and he said he started to kind of think, he's, in his words, dig himself a little bit. So he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes and doesn't want promotion. We agreed that being able to promote IJM.org is the reason that he would do the interview. A great, great man. And me personally, him as a former teammate in the Braves organization, I'm proud to say that he grew up in the Braves organization from Marietta, Georgia, Walton High, tremendous human being. And oh yeah, he's a pretty good pitcher too, a nasty cutter, and has certainly done the job the last couple days. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Paul. It's an amazing story for Blaine Boyer. I would imagine seeing what he has seen and experiencing what he has experienced outside the white lines probably has made the job between the white lines, if not a whole lot easier, certainly one filled with a much better perspective than perhaps he had 10, 11 years ago.
Well, and he said that some of the horrors that he saw that were overseas were unspeakable, and he's very thankful to be in the U.S. patriotic. When he came back, he felt like he was in a bubble, and yeah, when he gets in the game, you know, if he ever gets in a jam or is too hard on himself or anything like that, he just realizes that this is just a game, and there's people overseas in much worse situations. Puts everything in perspective.
Great stuff, Paul. Thank you.
Manny Pena is the batter. Madison Younginer is on to pitch for Atlanta. The Brewers have him loaded and lead by a 6-2 score. And that's way outside. 1-0 the count. Braves bullpen has been doing excellent work. Rough day today for Brandon Caniff, who's allowed 1 run. The runners aboard are his responsibility. Younginer was called up on Sunday and is appearing in his 3rd big league game. He pitched here in Milwaukee 2 nights ago, gave up a hit, a walk in 1 scoreless inning. Gordon Beckham's checked in to play second base. And Jace Peterson's moved to left. So Beckham will hit 9th. Younginer will hit 7th. That's foul away and into the seats. Carter, Perez, and Broxton, the runners. Broxton can really fly. And he's going to have a chance to fly. This one's headed for the gap. That's going to bounce off the fence. At least 2 are going to score. Here comes Broxton streaking around 3rd. The throw to the plate late. It's a bases clearing double for Manny Pena. Boy, how good does that feel for Pena, who's waited so long for a chance to do something in the major leagues.
It's got to be one of the greatest feelings in his whole life, certainly in his baseball life, come through like this. Fastball, inner 3rd. And with speed like Broxton at first base. He had a good shot at driving in all three. Boy, Keon can move.
His first, second, and third major league RBIs.
That's tremendous for him. Not so good for Atlanta.
So Kniff surrenders 4 runs. And the Brewers pulling away here in the 6th. They're up 9-2.
Kniff walked 3 guys and they all scored.
That's in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. Last chance we'll have this year to see one of the great characters in the game, former Brave, Hall of Famer Bob Uecker. He's in his 46th season behind the mic here in Milwaukee. They retired the number 50 for his 50 years in baseball. Immortalized in Cooperstown in 2003.
He's still great behind the mic at age 82.
You know who gave him the nickname Mr. Baseball?
Thinking Johnny Carson.
It was Johnny Carson who used to have Bob on the Tonight Show. Over 100 appearances with Johnny Carson before he retired in 1992. Bob has such a great self-deprecating wit. He's a big league catcher here with the Milwaukee and Atlanta Braves, the Cardinals and Phillies. 6 years in the bigs, including a membership on the 1964 world champion St. Louis Cardinals teams. Didn't hit many home runs in the show, but one of them came against Sandy Koufax. And a typical Bob Uecker fashion, when asked about that, he said, "That's the kind of hit that might keep Sandy out of the Hall of Fame." But what a wonderful ambassador, not just for Brewers baseball, but baseball everywhere.
That statue is up in the far reaches of the stadium. That was consistent with the commercial, the beer commercial he did about, I must be in the front row.
The Uecker seats, they call them. And as Bob might say, they put it in section 422 because that was his fielding percentage.
Yeah.
And another walk.
And the wheels have come off the Braves bullpen today.
Yeah. Not the way you want to go into Washington against the Nationals, first place team, and a team that hasn't been scoring a lot of runs, but has put a hurting on the Braves this year. The Nationals have run the table to this point. I think it's 13 in a row that the Braves have lost head-to-head to the Nationals. We've got to turn that around and got to find a way to get out of this mess. Milwaukee has scored in every inning, 3 more here in the 6th. And here's VR, who's got 3 hits. And Jonathan is our Home Depot tools from the dugout feature.
These last 9 games, unbelievable numbers. That includes today's action where he is 3 for 3.
9-2 Brewers. High hopper. It tore the mound, and the flip to first is in time. Runners move up. 2 outs, and Arcia is coming up. He scored a couple of runs. He's 0 for 2 with a walk.
Milwaukee, the city, reminds me a lot of Minnesota in the fact that we were there last road trip and saw so much construction going on downtown. Boy, it is happening here.
Yeah, this is a city known for its beautiful clock towers. Might be known for all the cranes.
No question.
High rises that are flying up all over the place. Down by the Milwaukee waterfront.
I noticed they had some real nice pile drivers right by the hotel too.
Yeah, they like to start them early too,
Yes,
don't
they
they?
do. Well, you know, days are shorter up here.
True. Nothing in 1, your count. And that's way high. It's 1-1 from Madison Youngener.
All those highway projects that they had working for so many years and couldn't finish. Got that all tied together like the Milwaukee version of Spaghetti Junction.
I was going to say that's a perfect description for it because traffic tie-ups, the norm downtown.
They did a nice job on it. What's that area called?
Oh, the 3rd Ward.
3rd Ward, city, the public market.
Yeah.
Really nice.
2 balls, 2 strikes. This will be a big weekend in West Allis, Wisconsin. The last couple of days of the Wisconsin State Fair are going on. Our crew was out there the other night. Had a great time. Nobody got hurt in the making of those videos.
Yeah, good bike trails.
Yeah, great bike trails.
Paul Bird back at it.
Popped up. And Freddie Freeman is going to make the play. Milwaukee has scored in every inning. They've scored 9 times on 11 hits. Downtown Milwaukee. Beautiful place. Craft Beer Night on Friday, August 19th as the Braves take on the Washington Nationals. Enjoy a selection of craft beers from local Atlanta breweries. Go to braves.com/brews for all the details about this ticket package. A lot of offense brewing for Milwaukee in this game. 9 runs on 11 hits. Matt Garza got a ton of run support again. He's in line to win his 4th game as Michael Blazek takes over as this game moves to the 7th.
Blazek worked here a couple of days ago. He can air it out. Good hard fastball. Worked an inning. Gave up a hit and a walk, but no runs.
Six innings, 7 hits, 2 runs for Garza. A homer, a couple of strikeouts. And I've got him with 3 walks.
Yeah, that last start, remember, against Arizona, he won 15-6. He led that game 9-0.
Tough to lose with 9.
It is very tough.
Gordon Beckham will lead off for the Braves. A couple of stints on the disabled list, and the second one I think really has sidetracked Beckham's year. You might recall when he got hurt, he was swinging the bat as well as anybody. 286 average, 390 on base during a 21 game stretch, but another hamstring issue. And since Beckham now 13 for his last 82 over 25 games, including this strikeout, and he's now 0 for his last 12.
Front door breaking ball, borderline pitch. Got the call from Andy Fletcher because of the nice job by Pena there.
Ciarte has a 3rd inning hit. Ball 1. Not sure who won the sausage race today.
Well, they had some junior sausages.
Oh, did they?
Uh-huh. They look like Vienna sausages.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Some kids running, so the big sausages tried not to roll over them, so to speak.
This was a veritable sausage party.
It was.
Down.
Yeah.
On the warning track. Ouch. Ciarte got hit by that pitch. Didn't like it. But the last thing Blazek wanted to do in a 9-2 game.
Wow. Right below the pocket. That hurt. That was solid.
And he's had hamstring problems, so keep an eye on that. Ibar's hit a homer today. He's also doubled. And he's going to have a 3-hit day. And Ciarte around second. He's motoring for 3rd. He'll make it without a throw. And Eric Ibar needs the triple to hit for a cycle today.
Fastball. And a quick bat today. Pitch away from him, but trying to pull it through the hole, and he did. What a day for Eric.
Freeman's walked, hit into a double play, doubled, and scored. Mile high fly ball to right. Perez onto the warning track and a step shy of the wall. Both runners will tag in advance. Enciarte scores on a mile-high sacrifice fly from Freddie Freeman, and that brings the Braves a run closer. It's 9-3.
Not taking anything away from Freddie's power. We know how far he can hit them. We saw that last night off the center field scoreboard. But when we talk about routine fly balls going out of Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, we kind of need to throw this park in there too, because that was just a pop-up and back Perez right up to the fence.
That's why you saw the Brewers trying to run the last couple of innings, even with a 5-0 lead. They of all people know how this place plays. They're one swing away from being right back in it. And Nick Markakis, the batter, he swung a hot bat. 2 hits and RBI. 3 runs, 8 hits for the Braves today. And a strike. Oh, 2. And a swing and a miss. Retires the side. The Braves pick up a 3rd run, but trail by 6. 7th inning stretch. No matter who finishes 1st, 2nd, or 3rd in the sausage race, everyone's a wiener. Saturday, August 20th. It's a free post-game concert, part of the Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines Summer Concert Series. Field passes are on sale for $20 each. Get them online at Braves.com today. Rough day at the ball yard for Atlanta. The Brewers have scored in every inning so far. They lead 9-3 on 11 hits. Roberto Hernandez started for the Braves. He gave up 5 in 4 innings. Brandon Caniff, 4 earned runs in an inning and a third. Youngner has yet to be scored upon, and he'll start the 7th with Scooter Gennett. A 2-hit, 2 RBI day for Gennett, including a home run. Tie strike. Arizona beat the Mets 9-zip. Pirates beat the Padres 4-zip. Cardinals are in Chicago at 7:05 Central Time. Wow, Colorado's blown another save.
Oh, man.
Texas 7, Rockies 7. That's 4 blown saves by 4 different pitchers in that series.
And they've already lost 4 in a row, I think it is. Yeah. After all that good work they'd put in after the All-Star break. 4 in a row and lost 7 of 10.
And nothing new for Texas. As this one's bounced toward first. Top spin hopper for Freeman. He's got it. Did you know the Texas Rangers have 36 comeback wins this year?
That's amazing already.
It's amazing. And Lucas Harrell was the man that started for the Rangers today. Chad Bettis for Colorado.
How interesting that a couple of the pitchers the Braves have traded away have already been sent back to the minor leagues by their new teams. Dario Alvarez by Texas, Hunter Cervenka by Miami.
And Bud Norris with some back issues for the Dodgers. So John Coppola very happy with those deals, but traded them sooner rather than later. As Chris Carter stands in. Carter's had a big day. 2-run homer in the first. And that one sizzled into the seats, foul. Great catch. That fan's from Chippewa, Wisconsin. He went around. It's 1-2. I think one of the other remarkable stories is the Dodgers. Forget the drama about Yasiel Puig. That's
happy to.
Yeah, part of the territory, unfortunately. They're only a game back. But what a job Dave Roberts and his staff and those players have done in dealing with the injury to Clayton Kershaw. And that's all we heard in the first 2 months of the season, is that when Kershaw pitches, the Dodgers usually win. When Kershaw doesn't, they usually lose. That has not been the case since he's gone down with a bad back. And that combined with the Giants' struggles after the All-Star break. The Dodgers have trimmed 5.5 games off the Giants' divisional lead and are only 1 back. About 2 months of baseball left. As Carter is rung up. It's 9-3.
I think Andy Fletcher forgot how many strikes there were. He called the strike like he normally does and then realized, oh, that was a 3rd strike. I better do my ring up. Strike. Oh, yeah. You're out.
So Neuenhuis, the batter, he's 0 for 3. Up and away, 2-0.
A lot of pressure on Neuenhuis to keep this inning alive.
Scored in every inning. That is no fun when you're on the defensive end of a game like that. Had one of those with the Cubs when Mike Hampton was pitching for the Rockies. They scored 15 runs in the game, scored in every inning, and Hampton hit 2 homers. And we were doing the game from the bleachers.
Oh,
it took forever.
Boy, was that fun. Huh?
Yeah. Three balls and a strike. Line drive toward Peterson and left, lays out, can't get it. Neuenhuis on his way to second. The throw is off target. Great effort by Jace, but he couldn't haul it in, and the inning is still alive for the Brewers.
Hard hit ball by Neuenhuis. Fastball away. Nice piece of hitting here. He didn't try to pull it. This ball hits off Jace, and then he kicks it with his heel to keep it from going to the wall. And kicked it right over to Inciarte. When Harry would do the games in center field, was it Comiskey Park or Wrigley that had the shower?
Comiskey. Yeah, at the White Sox park. Like I say all the time, I've seen the pictures. It's terrifying to see your future. But he'd strip down to his skivvies and a sleeveless T-shirt and broadcast the games out there all the time. I mean, it wasn't just a one-off thing like they do now.
But when you got hot in the bleachers in Comiskey, you could go over and stand and pull the chain and cool off.
Well, the fans in the Wrigley Field bleachers would always offer ways to cool you off.
Yeah. You know it.
Field line. How do they make them so cheap but taste so good? Every now and then. One ball, one strike. Hernan Perez 2 for 3 with a homer, an RBI, 2 runs. Milwaukee with a dozen hits. They'll play the Reds here tomorrow night. Base hit to center. Here comes Neuenhuis. Ender's throw is strong. It is going to be late. It's 10-3. Perez with his 3rd hit, his 2nd RBI. Neuenhuis kept the inning alive. And every Braves pitcher has given up at least 1 run, and the Brewers have scored on every inning.
Ender had a good shot at him with a strong throw, which he made, but the throw began to tail just a little bit toward the first base line, and that pulled Recker away from home plate on the tag. Still almost got him. Look at this footwork. Great momentum. And it was headed right to home plate, but tailed away.
I love watching you break down his outfield mechanics. But he couldn't get Neuenhuis at the plate. 2 hits with 2 outs. And Broxton takes low, and now Recker out for a chat. You almost never see infield practice anymore. Occasionally we'll see a club do it on a Sunday afternoon when there's no batting practice, but only occasionally. That used to be every game, wasn't it? I mean,
well, they're still taking, let's be fair, they're taking ground balls every day.
But not true infield and outfield practice.
But not what you're talking about with infield and outfield throwing, you know, get 2, turn 2, get 1, catcher's throwing. No, doesn't happen.
Used to love it just as a fan. Coming to the ballpark and watching that. Watching the coaches who could really master the fungo and put the ball within a dime's width of where they wanted it to be for the infielders.
It really has taken a toll on outfielders throwing. By not practicing throwing to the bases, there are very few people that can throw. The Braves got another assist today from Jeff Francoeur. They have 29, and that leads the National League. But the only outfield practice you see for any team is somebody hitting fungos out behind second, behind the screen during batting practice, and having all the outfielders throw to second. And in many cases, it's not a throw that you would deem to be a game type situation. And it's only to second. They never throw to third, and they never throw home.
And that's as odd to me as what we saw the Cardinals doing with Matt Adams. And where he's taking the ground balls and throwing the ball to where Ibar is standing, not even to the second base bag. 2 balls, 2 strikes for Keon Broxton. He scored a couple of runs. Madison Youngiter getting some valuable big league experience here. He's about to make his 44th pitch. He's given up 3 hits and a walk and his first run today. And that takes care of Keon Broxton. A 96-mile-an-hour fastball retires the side. We head to the 8th. 10-3 Brewers. History. It's a great moment in Braves history. On this date, Warren Spahn won his 300th Major League game at County Stadium. He beat the Cubs by a final score of 2-1 before 40,000 plus in the old Milwaukee ballpark. And Chairman of the board Lou Perini handed out these certificates to all who attended that Friday night game in 1961. And the side note of that, there were 8 future Hall of Famers on the field at County Stadium that night. Billy Williams, Ron Santo, and Ernie Banks for the Cubs. Eddie Matthews, Hank Aaron, Spahn, Joe Torre, who made it as a manager, of course. And Al Barlick was the first base umpire. He too in the Hall of Fame. A shot to left by Adonis Garcia as Jan Mariñez is greeted rudely. And that's how the 8th inning gets started.
You told me, was it Shag Crawford was behind the plate?
Shag Crawford was the man behind the plate. Jerry Crawford and Joey Crawford, 2 excellent officials. Jerry, the former Major League umpire, Joey, the former NBA referee, are Shag Crawford's sons.
It's a pretty good umpiring crew. You got Barlick and Shag Crawford working together.
Little tapper toward the mound. Easy play to first. Garcia at second. Peterson's out and is 0 for 4. And it'll be Matt Kemp. Remember, the Braves flip-flopped the batting order when Madison Youngiter came up, so Kemp will get a swing here in the 8th with 1 aboard. Nice story on Matt Kemp today, and it's in keeping with what he talked about when he came to the Braves and how Matt was reflective over what went right, what went wrong while he was with the Dodgers, with the San Diego Padres. One thing that Matt has said he wants to do, and the Braves are going to encourage this, is they want to see Matt slim down a little bit. He's a much bigger man than he was in his peak days in LA. When he finished second to Ryan Braun in the MVP race, he weighed about 208 pounds. Matt's bigger than that now, and the Braves feel that he can shed 10-15 pounds. That'll take some of the stress off his back, his hips, and make him a more effective and productive player.
Yeah, his hips are the ones that bother him the most, so you know that would help out, and he appears to be all on board with that, as we talked the other day about his efforts out early working on agility drills.
Two quick outs after the Garcia first pitch single. Here's Recker. Anthony is 0 for 2 with a walk. Braves Live presented by Xfinity will follow us from Miller Park. Disappointing finish to this series. The Braves had a chance today to take 3 out of 4, but gave up 2 first-inning runs and have had to climb uphill ever since. Brewers have scored in every inning. To short. Garcia's got it, loads up, and a strong throw takes care of Anthony Recker. No runs, a hit, a man left. Bottom of the 8th, all Brewers. Our pal Paul Bird with us on the road, and let's just say this is Paul's excellent adventure. First it started with the Wisconsin State Fair, hanging out with Arbuckle Jenkins. Then, well, we punished that back tire. The slide with Bernie the Brewer. Paul not part of the Jamaican bobsled team, obviously. We know he can take a hit. And then today, he will climb any mountain to provide an injury update for us on our air as he scaled the Mountain Dew wall on the upper deck right field concourse and lived to tell the tale.
While giving us a report. That was amazing.
You got me, guys. I appreciate that. I wasn't ready for this. You guys ambushed me, but yeah, I'm a little beat up, still got the wounds, so you know, not going on the DL, but you know, it's going to be rough fighting through some of these next couple of hits.
Well, just now they're closing the roof here at the ballpark, so we just figured you were up manning the controls on that too.
I loved your Batman costume comment as well.
There's that pivoting action you were talking about. Maybe the most unique roof in North American Stadium. We're told the showers are just west of here over by the Wisconsin State Fair. That's about 5-6 miles from Miller Park. So no interruptions wanted today.
Very unique.
Can you imagine how smart somebody had to be to design all that stuff?
It's not that hard. You just build a track, put some wheels on some metal panels, build a few spans. You got to set those support beams for the track. You know, you got to set those deep. You got to go to bedrock on that.
But the roof is officially closed now.
One thing they messed up here, maybe because it cost so much to build the roof. Maybe because it doesn't get that hot normally in Milwaukee, is there is no AC in here.
Yeah, you can get some steamy afternoons and evenings here, especially when those roof panels are closed.
And you can see with the sun having come out now, you can see the shadows right around home plate from those panels up above the first baseline too. When you build a new house and you don't, you know, in the budget you don't allow put in something in there for curtains, it's never a good thing.
There's always room in the budget for curtains.
You'd think.
Yeah. I wonder why too, if you think of it just from a player safety issue, if there was ever any thought about putting a curtain over those airplane hangar-like windows above the first base side of the ballpark.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
That
why wouldn't they?
Yeah, they built this place and apparently ran out of money before they put a drape up.
Well, you know, the old Astrodome, they had glass panels on the roof, and they had natural grass inside. They had not yet invented the fake grass, which later became known as AstroTurf, because the Astrodome was the first place it was used. But the inside of that place was like a giant greenhouse, and the outfielders, they say, would go to catch a fly ball in that southern Texas sunshine, and they'd have no idea where the baseball was. So the solution was they painted it.
They painted the panel right behind home plate that went up to the center.
Almost like a pie slice, right?
Yes, figuring that the outfielders and infielders would have a better shot of tracking the ball when it went in the air, thanks to that painted panel right above home plate. But you couldn't take your eye off the ball. Fly balls, you had to track it all the way.
And I'm told that that's what it looked like, almost like a ball moving on a track, right? Square by square.
Yeah.
Well, once they painted the panels, the grass died. So, well, now what are we going to do? Well, they invented the fake grass, and the rest is history. And fortunately, in most places, so is the AstroTurf.
Yeah.
This is Jake Elmore. Braves have issued 6 walks to the Brewers today. They have struck out their normal complement of 9. That's what Milwaukee does. Almost 10 per game. They've got 9 to this point. Atlanta has not had a 1-2-3 defensive inning. They've had 19 base runners for Milwaukee. Jay Scott to that one. And Elmore is retired for out number 1 in the 8th.
It's been 2 years, Chip, since a team has scored in every inning August 2nd, 2014, Detroit did it at home against the Rockies. 11-5 was the final there.
Well as the Braves have played over the last 2 weeks, this one's one you put in the clinker column.
Stinker.
As VR is the batter, he's had a big day. 3 hits, 3 singles. But oddly enough, the man that's neck and neck with Billy Hamilton in the stolen base category has been thrown out twice. Once he overslid the bag. Second time, Recker threw a missile to second to erase him.
You're talking about those walks. They all came from the bullpen, I think. I don't think Hernandez walked one, did he?
He didn't. Toward third. Adonis will charge and go to second. Beckham had to stretch out as that ball was on its way to the outfield if he hadn't stretched properly. Lead runners forced out. Pena. VR's at first, 2 outs. And Arcia is going to be the batter. Well, our first look at Arcia. 3 hits in the series. Made all the plays at shortstop. 3 for 16 so far at the plate. These his first 4 games at home in a Brewer uniform. I can see why they like him.
Yeah, he's very athletic. Like I said, quick feet. That's kind of what I watch around the bag for shortstops and second basemen, and has a good arm.
Lined into center. Ender can't get it. That's going to roll to the wall, and we got trouble. VR scores. Arcia on his way to third. He'll stop there. And the Brewers have scored in the 8th. They've scored in all 8 today.
Remember earlier, a couple innings ago, a ball was hit like this to Ender, and he knew he couldn't catch it, and he had to kind of block it. This one, he couldn't get in front of it. Made the diving effort, and he knew he had to get up and get on his horse, or this was going to be an inside the park home run, and the first big league home run for Arcia if he didn't.
So it's 11-3. Every Braves pitcher who has worked has been scored upon. And a ground ball to second. Beckham's got it. His throw to first is in time. And that will retire the side. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left. Last call for the Braves.
Toyota dealers. Let's go places. The Georgia Lottery. And Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
Milwaukee scored a run in every inning. In one word, yuck. 11-3 after 8. First 20,000 fans in attendance Thursday, August 18th. Get a one-of-a-kind Andrew Jones The Catch bobblehead. Don't want to miss it. Go to Braves.com/tickets and get your seats today. This is Rob Scahill. We've seen him before in the series. Former Pirate, current Brewer. And he's in his 17th game overall this year.
Yeah, he was in the game. The Braves won 2-1. He worked the 8th inning, gave up a hit, but then promptly got a double play ball.
Jake Elmore stays in the game to play right. Perez moves to third. BR's out of the game. And Gordon Beckham leads off inning number 9. 11 runs, 14 hits for the Brewers. And Beckham gets hit by a pitch. That's 2 in as many innings by this Brewers relief staff.
And in a game like this, that's the last thing you expect and need.
Ender's the other guy that got hit. He later scored a run on Freeman's sac fly to right. In the air to center. Broxton gets there. 1 out. Eric Ibar, if you're looking for silver linings, needs a triple to hit for the cycle. He doubled in the first, homered in the 6th, and singled in the 7th. To left and playable for Nieuwenhuis. And the Braves are down to their last out. And it'll be Freddie Freeman. Freddie has 5 hits in the series, 2 of them homers. He's doubled and scored today, and he has his 49th RBI.
Fun matchup tomorrow night, though.
Oh boy.
Mike
Can't wait.
Foltynewicz, Steven Strasburg. Strasburg's 15-2. Some flames coming off baseballs in that one tomorrow night.
Texas polished off the Rockies, or is polishing them off, I should say. That was in the 8th inning, I beg your pardon. 9-8 down at Globe Life Stadium. Houston beat Minnesota 15-7, game 1 of a day-night doubleheader. Baltimore 8, Oakland 2. That one's in the 7th. Tigers are back in the race. Cleveland still leads the Central by 3.5. Seattle Mariners are charging hard out in the American League. Detroit's a game behind. Seattle's a game and a half back. Houston's 3.5 back. Believe it or not, the Yankees are 4.5 out in the wild card.
It's the comment by Joe Girardi.
Scahill's gone 3-0 with an 8-run lead. And he just walked Freeman.
He doesn't have a clue where it's going either.
First and second. Markakis a chance to hit.
Aiming the ball.
The Yankees are in Boston tonight. Angels in Cleveland. White Sox versus Kansas City. And again, Houston plays the Twins later.
Braves have 9 hits today. They just haven't been able to really put them all together for any major inning. Nick's 2 for 4. He's had a good day. We've been in a run.
Want to wish the Falcons luck tonight. I think they've got the Redskins in exhibition football this evening. Their first of preseason schedule. No balls at a strike. $30,167 was the crowd today.
That's the biggest crowd of the 4-game series.
Brewers are averaging about 29,000 fans per game at home. This is their 59th date of the season. They're 1 out away from their 51st win. They've been tough at home. We told you that. They'll be 32-27 here at Miller Park. Pitch. Just outside. Crowd wanted to go home. They'll have to wait another pitch. Give Andy Fletcher a whole lot of credit. He has not adjusted his strike zone to the score. Sure, it's tempting to do so with the number of pitches he's seen today. Now the 2-2. Keep fighting. Never know. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Runners go. And a bouncing ball up the middle. Arcia's got it. The flip to first in time. And the Milwaukee Brewers put a hurting on the Braves today to split the series. Chris Carter's 2-run homer in the first inning got the offensive parade rolling. Milwaukee scores in all 8 of their offensive innings today. And they beat the Braves by a final score of 11-3. We'll take a quick break, come back and recap the series from Miller Park after this.